Welcome back, Forgotten Family, and welcome to another episode of After Hours. Here is where we will delve deeper into cases previously discussed. To do this, I will go over different scenarios, tell you my thoughts and opinions on what I think happened, and highlight something we can learn from these horrible tragedies. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment to show my gratitude for my tier, We're More Than Friends, We're Family. Emily, JC, and Eric, thank you so much for your pledge. Because of people like you, I'm able to improve my podcast and keep this thing going. Please know that you are appreciated. Now, let's move on to Karena McClerkin. This case is full of rumors, speculations, and allegations. I have done my best to try to look past these rumors and look at scenarios that make the most sense. In these scenarios, I'm not going to implicate anyone specific because this case was so vague in detail that it's hard to say anything could have happened with complete certainty. And to be honest, even knowing truly the people Karena saw that night with complete certainty is also a mystery, to the public at least. So, Scenario 1, Karena decided to run away. Maybe after Karena's family found out about her substance abuse issue, she felt pressure to quit even though she wasn't ready. Maybe she started filling out the paperwork to the rehabilitation facility and decided this was too much, so set up a way to escape. She's seen walking down the street on the 1000 block of South Washington Street, and maybe she has a friend pick her up and she disappears to start a new life with friends wherever, whether on the street, in a new town, or with friends wherever she continues to use. Honestly, I would have leaned into this scenario at one point due to Karena not finishing the rehab paperwork in a quicker fashion, but what threw me was supposedly blood being found in the car and allegedly the family being told to start searching for her remains. With that being said, even though police haven't officially confirmed to anyone that it is Karena's blood, I would take that as a hint that maybe her blood was in there, and if she was running away, I don't think her blood would be in someone's trunk. Also, I read that Karena's grandfather passed away during the time that she was missing. She was incredibly close with her grandfather, and her family truly believes she would have come back for his funeral. Scenario 2. Karena was sold into sex trafficking. On the day of her disappearance, she's seen walking down the street on the 1000 block of South Washington Street, and maybe she has who she thinks is a friend or an acquaintance pick her up. Maybe at this time, Karena is already intoxicated and her friend tells her she's taking her somewhere to continue partying. Maybe this friend had connections with sex traffickers and were paying this so-called friend for Karena. Maybe once Karena realized what was happening, she fought harder than expected, so they physically hurt her to incapacitate her and possibly put her in the trunk for transportation. If Karena bled from her injuries, this could explain the possible blood in the trunk. However, I also do not think this option is likely. If police did tell the family to indeed start looking for remains, that would lead me to believe that, remember, this is my own personal speculation, not fact, but I would think the blood discovered is Karena's, and the amount discovered would be enough to be unlikely of survival. The next two theories are my personal opinion on what I think happened. I think sweet Karena is definitely deceased. I do think she was picked up by a friend and taken to another so-called friend's house where they continued to party, and I think Karena was either murdered or accidentally overdosed. I don't know what the murder motive would be. That inmate previously stated that she stole from her dope dealer, which could be a possibility, or someone could have just had a bad trip and zeroed in on her specifically. Honestly, unless someone speaks up, there's no way to know for sure. If she were murdered brutally, this would explain the potential blood found in the trunk, which they put her in to take to dispose, which I would assume would be somewhere in the wilderness. Now, if Karena was at this party and accidentally overdosed, maybe the people she was with freaked out and were afraid of getting in trouble, so they thought the only option they had was to dispose of her body. This kills me to say, but I can't imagine there being too much blood from an overdose, so maybe they dismembered her in an attempt to conceal her body easier and put her remains in the trunk to take to an area or multiple areas to dispose. This would explain the potential blood in the trunk. When looking back at this case, I am so saddened because Karena was such a young woman and her life ended way too early. Karena had only been 18 for 2 weeks before she disappeared. She never got the chance to get married, have kids, or go to college. Her future was wiped out in one day. Something I think is important to take away from this case is understanding mortality and how fragile life truly is. When you're a teenager, it feels like you're invincible, and movies and songs make it almost seem like using all kinds of drugs is just what kids do and almost makes it feel accepted and expected. I felt it too. Most teenagers don't get to see the other side of using. Yes, there can be fun nights and laughter and euphoria, but what happens when that shifts into paranoia and pain and dependence? Addiction can happen at any age, and although being young can make you feel like you're invincible, it doesn't mean you are. Statistics have revealed that perceptions of drugs' potential dangers have declined. Percentages of middle and high schoolers who perceive certain drugs as dangerous or harmful were lower than they had been in recent years. Throughout the nation, 10 million young people ages 12 to 29 are in need of substance abuse treatment. Among the millions, only 1 in 10 adolescents who have a substance use disorder actually receive the professional treatment they deserve. Sadly, death rates for drug overdoses among those aged 15 to 19 were highest for opioids, specifically heroin. I'm not here to parent or tell any teenager or young adult what to do, but all I ask is please think carefully before you proceed, because you might just say, I'll try it once, or I'll only do it with my friends socially, but it's a dangerous game, and the repercussions can be life-altering. The path to hell can be deceiving, and you won't realize you're there until you look up and everything you once loved is destroyed. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes open.